Do you sometimes wonder how do people come up with pictures like these? That is due to shutter speed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day 4 of 30 Days Photography School Challenge. Today we are going to talk about shutter speed. Shutter speed is one of the segments of exposure triangle. Shutter speed is denoted by 1 by the denominator. Now if I say that if you need to increase the shutter speed, that means that you need to increase the denominator. So higher shutter speed means this and lower shutter speed means this. Shutter speed is inversely proportional to the exposure. That means if you increase the shutter speed, you reduce the exposure, and if you reduce the shutter speed, you increase the exposure. Shutter speed is basically how quickly the shutter of the camera closes while you're clicking the picture. Basically, the denominator denotes the fraction of a second the shutter needs to close. The sooner the shutter closes, the crispier, the sharper the picture you get. Usually it's considered to be a good practice to get sharper pictures. So if you want to increase the exposure of your picture by reducing the shutter speed, the problem is the shutter takes longer time to close down. So that results in a picture with motion blur, which at times could be a good thing when you have an artistic view, but most times it is considered to be a bad picture. Generally, in most situations, you would have to change the shutter speed of your camera itself, not the ISO or the aperture, because ISO has to be kept as low as possible in most of the situations, and the aperture is usually decided by the creative aspect of the picture. Usually in sports photography, higher shutter speed is used because they want to capture the exact moment the things have happened. But when it comes to normal photography, you just need to keep your shutter speed above 1 by 100th of a second and you would come up with a sharp picture. Tomorrow we are going to talk about aperture. I got this cup made for my podcast to send a message to all my viewers. But this message is great, isn't it? Podcast or not?